I've created this series of 4 videos to help you with creating your budget for your Shark Tank project. So let's just start by talking about the goals of these 4 videos. We cannot know for sure how much class time we're going to have. Uh, the year that I'm making these videos, I think we're going to have plenty of time, but from year to year that could vary. So I want to have the videos as a resource in case you need to learn some of this outside of class. And for that same reason, these videos will help students who are absent on any of the days that we're working on this together in class. They can reference the videos instead of the direct instruction in class. Course accelerated students may not have me as their math teacher, and so they'll be able to use these videos to help them understand the expectations for the budget. And then finally, just as a reference point, it will sort of serve as notes outside of class. You can go back to any of the videos as you're working on the project and try to remind yourself how to do something. The goals for this specific video, this first video, are to understand what a budget is, and then to look at some example budgets. I created an example budget of my own that I'll share with you, and I'll show you some students who've created some examples of budget students have created in the past. We'll learn how to create and share an Excel online budget. You'll have that done either in class or by the time you're done watching this first video. And then just overall, I just want you to, after this first video, just feel better about what's expected for the math part of this project. The project can be a bit overwhelming. There's so many components, but you'll have lots of class time, lots of days to work on it. And by the time you're done watching this video, I think you'll have a really good feeling for, okay, I understand what's expected for the budget, what I'm going to need to do, and then you can just start working on it. Feel better about that. So what is a budget? A budget is a spending plan. If you don't have a spending plan for your business, this will happen. You'll be flushing money down the toilet, you'll have no idea where money's going, and things are not going to go well. Ideally, you want your budget or you want your business to be creating positive cash flow, and having a good spending plan will put you in the best position for that to happen. Your spending plan allocates where money goes, the destinations for your money. The destinations may be your pocket, it may be your investor's pocket, but more often it's buying things to keep the business going, creating more product, um, marketing your product so that you get more customers, and just putting money back into the business to help the business grow. Here is an example budget. Well, I'll start with my example budget. This is a budget that I made based on the ocean cleanup project. So the ocean cleanup, if you're interested in it, in how they're cleaning the oceans of plastic pollution, they're starting with rivers because that's how the plastic gets to the ocean. People dump plastic improperly, and it ends up in rivers and gets swept into the ocean. So if you're interested in this, the basis for this sample budget that I made, you can go to theoceancleanup.com, and I based my budget on creating one of these interceptors. You can see that as plastic is in the river, it gets swept along with the river currents, and there are these turbidity curtains that are floating curtains that go down, that extend down into the water a bit, so the plastic cannot bounce underneath them. And as the river naturally flows, these divert the plastic in a certain direction, and then ultimately divert them into this conveyor belt system and into a dumpster. And then this interceptor is unloaded, and the plastic is recycled, disposed of properly. And the genius behind this is boats can still pass through these areas because the curtain only extends for part of the river. So I use that as an example budget to try to imagine what it would cost, to what my expenses would be for creating a single river interceptor, and what kind of income I could expect. And so your spending plan allocates money to certain expenses that you need to create the business or the product or the service. We'll look at examples of products and services, and then also projects what kind of sales you'll expect. And ultimately, what it all comes down to is you've got a certain number of expenses or a certain total amount of expenses, and then a certain total income that you've projected, and then your balance is your income minus your expenses. And if you have more income than expenses, then you're profitable. Here's an example of a student's budget. They had a cane toad spray that they were creating. And so they projected they would sell 500 of them, this Toad Buster spray, and they determined what they would need to create the spray and how much it would cost. And so that results in expenses, income, and a balance. Here's another example budget. I think this team was trying to eradicate the invasive lionfish species and sell the meat as tacos to create income. So there's lots of expenses listed here, and the total expenses are down here. I'll teach you in other videos how to create these functions to keep track of the totals. And then their income from selling the tacos and from the different things, different sales of hats, donations, different things. We'll talk about that in other videos. And then their balance would be their income minus their expenses. Here's a more of a service business rather than selling a product. They're selling a service. So they have a monthly subscription for removing these invasive Muscovy ducks. And so rather than selling a product, they're selling a service. They even have a charge for housing the ducks or for selling duck meat, duck feathers that they're selling. And so they've got their expenses, their income, and their balance. This is not going to be the exact rubric, but I'll provide you with a rubric, and this is how your budget will be created. I'll check off the rubric depending on the whether you've met the requirements for the different levels of the rubric, and then I'll give you some feedback and I'll paste it directly into your budget. The math grade portion, this budget will count as several homework grades. I don't want to say exactly how many because I want to announce that in class. I suspect it will probably count as 4 homework grades. Okay, now getting back to now that you've seen some example budgets and you probably have an idea of what the end product will look like, at least roughly. And of course, you could pause and go back and look at those a little bit more closely if you like. Now we're going to actually create your budget, just the starting point budget, and then share it. So let's go to Office Online, add new, Excel workbook. Okay, now the first thing I want you to think about is let's say you're in a team of 2 or 3 people. If somebody else on your team has already created the budget, you'll know it because you will have received an email and they will have shared it with you. So if that's happened, then you don't need to share it. You don't need to share a new one, but you might want to go through the steps of creating your own just to sort of familiarize yourself with these steps. So I'm going to suggest we start on row 5 and type the following: description, and then arrow over to column B, amount, column C, quantity, total for column D, and balance. I will describe what all of these are in an upcoming video. And these are going to be the same categories for your income. So you can just copy paste those over to column G here. All right, now if you know certain things about Excel and you already know how to do the formatting, for example, description is not it's cut off by the column width. You can go up here and double click. All that formatting can be done later, but it's hard for me to look at that and not fix it in the moment, but this can all be done later. We're just trying to create the initial file. Here's a helpful Excel online tip. If I want to show that all of this whole table are my expenses, there's a button up here called Merge, and you can merge the cells that I've highlighted, A4 through E4. That creates one cell, and then you can title that Expenses. We can do the same thing over here to create our income. And so below these will be all of the different things we're going to need to pay for. And over here, all the things that are generating income or making money for the business. And that will all be filled out. We'll teach that in class or in another video or both. The reason I had you start down a little bit is because we'll probably use row 2 here for the name of the business. And here's an example where ChatGPT could be helpful. So I went to ChatGPT and I just, as an example, I said, I'm creating a company to manufacture and sell direct to consumers a spray to eradicate the invasive cane toad species. Can you give me 10 good names for the company and 10 good ideas for the name of the cane toad spray product? And it gave me some interesting company names. So I like this one, Cane Toad Control Solutions. No idea if I can copy this directly. We'll find out right now. I can. I might want to change, I might want to adjust font and size and all that stuff later. But let's just sort of like merge all of these cells and come up with the name of your company. And it doesn't have to be, you want to consult with your partners on the project later and debate and discuss and come up with a better name. That's fine, but just put something in as a placeholder. And then once we've got all that done, we can probably want to rename this. I'll call it Cane Toad Solutions. What do I need to do here? Nothing. It does it automatically. Okay. Now, like I said, if you know that one of your teammates has already shared a file with you, don't do this next step. But if you're the first one to create it, let's share it with your teammates. Click on share and look up, like if I was on Sohan's team, there he is. I would just click it and then do that for all your teammates and then also share it with me. It's really important that you share the file with me because as you edit the file, I'm going to be, I'll teach you in another video, but I'm going to be making comments and giving you suggestions online about how you can improve the file. So I'm CCOLBY. You share it with me. The default is whoever you're sharing it with may edit it, but I'll just show you where that setting is just in case. You see where it says can edit, so that anyone that you're sharing it with can edit the file. If you click on can view, then the people you share it with cannot make changes. You don't want that because you want your teammates to be able to edit the file along with you, of course, and you also want me to be able to edit it because that's how I'm going to grade it and give you feedback frequently throughout the project. All right, so I'm not going to click send because I don't want Sohan to wonder what am I up to, and I don't need to send it to myself, but this is how you would share it. Okay, if you've done that, I think we've accomplished what we need for this first video.